Beautiful day here in Boise, right by the track here, and I'm addressing a lot of questions that I'm getting today. One of them is weak point training on shoulders specifically. How can people bring up their shoulders? Now, one of the main things that I see when people are training shoulders is that they're bringing in assisting muscles. Some people are overpowered with their traps. Some people are overpowering with their rhomboids, The basis of shoulder training, I say, is always half the weight to begin with, because you're probably using other assisting muscles to begin with. So half the weight until you get the form right. If you're doing side raises, for instance, your elbows, wrists, and shoulders should be all one plane. It shouldn't be like this. It should be kind of straight. But the main thing is using higher reps. I find that when you get blood into the area, and you're able to transport the nutrients and the fluid and the electrolytes so you can get the better contraction, that's when you can get the better mind-muscle connection to contract your muscles in your shoulders. And if you've got weak delts, then prioritize them. Don't do them at the end of chest or at the end of back, or do them at the start of the week when you know that either you've had the previous day off or you're going to have the next day off, so you can give it better time to recover. You can put more focus in it, and obviously if you're taking a good pre-workout supplement that gets an increase of blood flow to the area, that's a vasodilator, not a vasoconstrictor, then again you're going to get a better mind-muscle connection to this area. One thing that I've been doing over the past year or so to bring up my delts, because they were a weak point and I put them in my goals as a priority, so write that down to begin with so you're accountable to it, is using a lot of barbell plates as opposed to dumbbells and holding them out erect as opposed to just letting them hang down as you would with a dumbbell. Normally it will work your forearms a little bit, but I find the contraction is that much better to my delts. Now this may not work for you, but it's worth giving it a go. If you don't go, you'll never know. So always prioritize it. Make sure that you have higher calories on that day of your weak points, specifically your shoulders here, to ensure that they can better recover and that you're adequately hydrated and you've got all the nutrition in your carcass that you need to make sure that you fuel your workouts. But more than anything, it's going to be that mind-muscle connection. Make sure you don't have any distraction in the gym. You ain't talking, you ain't fucking around. You're just focusing on your delts and your delts only. What also helps is if you look at an anatomy chart so you can see the direction that each fiber runs, from your anterior to your posterior head to your lateral head, so you can really isolate and dig down deep and separate each muscle group within your delts so you can really adequately get each one to break down and grow in order to get some good caps on your delts, man. So yeah, try applying some of those tips and hopefully you won't be able to walk through the door next time. The most common weak point that I see on people's shoulders is number one, the rear delts. And that's normally because they're going too heavy, so the assisting muscles, which should be your secondary muscles, become your primary muscles, i.e. your back. So when your back takes over because you're going too heavy, you're going to get secondary movement from your rear delts. It should be the other way around, so make sure you go a little bit lighter, straighten your arms out a little bit more when you're doing your rear delts, and try to contract at the top. If you can hold it and contract, perfect. If you can't, it means you must have used assisting muscles to get the weight up there in the first place, and that would have been your back. So lighten the load a little bit. Another area that I see is lacking and people think it's a strength is their front delts. Because everybody's always trying to hit the outer delts to try to get the width, but when they work their front delts a little bit more, it brings the insertion of that front delt across your chest that much further to give you the illusion of much wider delts. So one thing that I'd say is really make sure that you do isolate with a lot of front raises, whether that be dumbbell, barbell, cable, or whatever, because just doing incline press or military press just isn't going to cut it. So make sure that you do adequately pre-fatigue the area with a lateral or isolation movement first. There's no specific order that you should be hitting your delts other than hitting your weak point first. You need to prioritize this area when you're stronger, when you're more mentally focused, not when you're fatigued. Like the last thing that you do is leave your last bit of energy of that sprint when you're pretty much pre-fatigued. You want to hit it at the start when you've got the most strength, most energy, the more mental focus and cloudy. Especially if you're taking a good pre-workout that has your tyrosine and your taurine and your caffeine. You're going to be more mentally focused and stimulated, and that's when you want to be hitting your weak point first. So always hit if your rear delts are weak, then don't start with a military press. Start with your rear delts, your rear raises first, and then move on to your other parts of your delt. That's all I got for shoulders today. If you like these videos on the YouTube channel, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe.